Hey everybody, welcome to Raw Dogs. We are a podcast that does deep dives on video game topics. We alternate every other week with the brother of our show, Hair of the Dogcast, where we sit down with two more gaming fellas and have a casual discussion over beer about video games. We alternate every other week. Check out both of our shows. We are part of the Greenlit Podcast Network. To check out all of the other amazing content they provide, check out greenlitpodcast.com. Thanks for checking us out and enjoy the show. Welcome to another episode of Raw Dogs. We are worshiping some demons this week. Getting real raw.
Oh, yeah, demon baby.
Rip and tear and open beer and drink. I'm Brad.
Hey, Brad. And I'm Tom.
And we are Raw Dogs. We are bi-weekly from Hair of the Dogcast. We kind of do more... We do more deep dives, some research topics.
Deep dives.
A little bit more of a deep dive instead of, that fun abstract buffoonery. We are more specific buffoonery.
I've heard us being called rogues.
We're kind of a roguelike podcast.
Yeah.
It's different every time.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
So Hair of the Dogcast and us, we are podcasts about video games and beer. And I opened a special beer. Today we are talking about the Doom franchise.
Very apt.
A long time ago, over a year ago, my friend from the Massonomics podcast, they are a weightlifting podcast, so there's zero overlap almost. But if you're into weightlifting,
there's some pretty buff demons in this.
I just did Ring Fit Adventure.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, you did Ring Fit Adventure. But this is from my buddy Tom from
I saw some.
From Massonomics, and this is Surly Brewing Company's Darkness Russian Imperial Stout, aged in rye whiskey barrels. This one's over a year old. This must be the 18.
Brad, I had a sip already, and it is fucking delicious.
Oh, yeah.
I've never been like the hugest Surly fan, but this is just on another level. They make great beer, just not beer.
I'm not sure if some of Surly's quality has changed a little bit over the past few years, because I was always going over there when I used to live in the cities, and I knew all the Surly people from being in the beer industry, and beer was always good. So I haven't had a lot of their stuff recently. I know their Coffee Bender is one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah, Coffee Bender. I think Josh was always trying to feed me their IPAs. They were known for some pretty good IPAs. And at the time, I was like, no.
Don't give Thomas Surly Furious. It'll make him furious. Get him a nice dark beer.
Just give me, like this, the darkness.
I was friends with one of the early Surly reps, and there'd be darkness parties where they'd have all the different kinds of darkness on tap. And it's super rare to get like a 4-year-old darkness. He'd be doing like drop shots with it just to piss people off.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
You can't do that. But we are here because we are on the eve. We are close to the arrival of Doom Eternal.
So close.
Very exciting.
I think we are all very, very excited about this. I knew I loved Doom, but the more I kind of looked into it, the more I realized that it is one of the best franchises, the most important franchises in the shooter genre.
Yes, if not the...
Undeniable.
What does Doom mean to you guys? Tom?
What does it mean to me? Doom takes me back to being an angsty teenager right when it came out on the old floppy. So I was there at the flashpoint of Doom. I just remember it being a big, big thing and playing that and kind of having my mind blown. And then, all the Satan worshiping I did after.
The pictures are great from that time of your life, though.
Thank you.
I do love that.
Scars are still healing.
Just a little goth Tom. Yeah. For me, I played it first time on a PC my ex-stepfather brought home. My mom, famously, she's kind of a Luddite, and we didn't have like PCs or anything. And this is at a point where you didn't need the internet to be a functional human being. He brought that back, and he started playing Doom. And I was like, what is this? It kind of scared me because I was a sheltered little child. I tried playing it. I could not get a grasp of it. WASD. No.
WASD? Yeah.
No, I couldn't.
How old were you?
I was probably 6 or 7.
Okay.
When I first, it might have been Doom 2. At the time, though, I couldn't have told you what the difference was. And I remember in recess, I would call myself Doom Guy.
That's just what everyone called you.
Yeah, well, I mean,
before the game even came out.
It was Pokemon, or I wanted to be Doom Guy because I thought it was so cool that I could like kill demons and shit.
Just playing tag at recess as Doom Guy.
Yeah. And I would just walk around like this. I'd bob up and down.
You're looking left and right with your angry face constantly covered in blood.
I'm just holding
face straight forward. Just,
I'm going like this.
Just punching.
With my fists. Yeah.
How about you, Brad?
Well, Doom to me, because I started at a young age. I don't remember the first time I played it. Must have been on a friend's PC. But I was young, and it is a scary game because I hadn't played a game that was so fast at that point, and it's heavy metal. It's just that like driving music, which they actually pretty much ripped off a lot of popular rock music at the time to make a lot of those riffs for those levels. Mm-hmm. It is incessant. The gameplay is so fast, and I remember the demons, they're not like maybe terrifying in that the sprite work. They're still scary, but they chase you and they fuck you up.
Yes. Yeah. If you're afraid of pixels, they're very scary.
The Adam Sandler film?
Everyone should be
afraid of that.
Yeah.
Josh Gad has sex with Qbert.
Oh, God, he does.
He does, yeah.
That's a very Gadian thing.
Well, Qbert transforms into a hot lady first.
Oh, just like the game.
My favorite part of Qbert.
Where you get to fuck Qbert at the end.
Yeah. That's right. I love Qbert. Very sexy.
Qbert's Revenge on 2600.
Qbert's Revenge. God.
So I think we should probably start just by talking about id Software and kind of where they came from.
Oh man,
there's
that's
always
like an episode on its own.
There is a lot to go into there. There's the two titans that always get mentioned with John Carmack and John Romero. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There was also Tom Hall and Adrian Carmack. Those are kind of the four that did a lot of the early work. No relation. They had two Johns, two Carmacks, and Tom Hall.
Two Johns, just like they
Poor Tom Hall. I think it was just like predestiny that he didn't work out.
This is my friend John Hall. Can anyone hire him, please? So Carmack, super smart guy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Back then, PCs weren't even able to kind of show that side-scrolling classic Mario Brothers level. Carmack was able to devise a way to make that happen.
Well, it wasn't following the character on the screen, it's scrolling on its own. Because when you play like the early Super Mario Brothers, one thing that these early games couldn't get past is the fact that the screen is always following Mario. So you're not scrolling in between screens, you're just following him the entire time as like a static image. And so he's the axis upon which the entire level plays out.
Yeah.
But he devised a way where you can scroll through the levels without actually following the character.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen any of that footage?
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating.
It's pretty interesting.
I've read a lot about it, though.
Well, they recreated Super Mario Brothers 3.
Well, they first created Dangerous Dave and copyright infringement was what they called it. And John Romero convinced them to pitch Nintendo, which I think that dichotomy between those two is so integral to what made id work with those early Doom games. Carmack, the genius, and Romero, just the long-haired hype man who kind of knows how to get things done. Yep. id Software's first major release was, of course, Commander Keen.
Commander Keen, baby.
I'm guessing you might have played that?
Yes, I have. Not a lot. This was like the dawn of PCs starting to kind of proliferate, home PCs. So whoever had a computer, we all gave each other these games because they were all distributed on, as shareware. We all had the first episode of pretty much all the games that came out during that time. And Commander Keen was one of those that everyone kind of had. I don't know. I never really got into it too much, but I had some friends.
I think it's worth pointing out at this time, home computers were less powerful than an NES. And I think that's worth saying because now you talk about PC Master Race and stuff like that. And there's such a clear dichotomy. Like PC is the obvious choice for gamers who want high fidelity and like the up-to-date graphics. Whereas back then it's like, well, you buy this system to play the games because it's built to run the games. Now they can do all of it. The fact that a lot of these games couldn't run on a PC and they got it to work on a PC is actually extremely impressive.
Oh, it's great. On our Mount Rushmore episode, I think I remember saying that if we had a Mount Rushmore for the most influential figures just in video game history for whatever they're known for, John Carmack is absolutely on there. He's like right next to Miyamoto to me.
I didn't realize how groundbreaking a lot of what he was doing, changing the landscape of technology at the time and creating new ways to do things.
He's an absolute genius. One of the smartest guys probably on the planet.
You had mentioned before about shareware, and one of the things that was really smart early on because they teamed up with Apogee, and with Commander Keen, they released the first episode as shareware, and then people bought it. They made like $30,000 really quick on the Commander Keen.
They had a call center of 2 people.
Yep,
right?
And they had to package everything up. And they're like, we don't want to scale up. They're like, we might want to do something by ourselves if you're not going to scale up for us.
That was commonplace. Selling your games in plastic baggies. Richard Garriott for Ultima. I mean, he would just go around to stores, Ziploc bags.
Drug dealers
Ultima.
operate that same way.
Well, that kind of rules.
It's true, yeah.
Well, I mean,
hard to snort, but
that's a true way to make sure your game isn't pirated.
And you might be asking, why are we talking about Commander Keen necessarily in the Doom episode? But Commander Keen is a direct ancestor of Doom Guy. It is canon. He wears a Green Bay Packers helmet, and he is an ancestor of Doom Guy.
And he looks very panicked all the time.
He's also a descendant.
I didn't know it was a Green Bay Packers helmet.
It is, yeah. I'm not sure if it was Tom Hall or Adrian Carmack.
It's Adrian Carmack.
He's the Wisconsin guy.
They're the ones who convinced them to move to Madison for
and
a
then
while.
They hated it. That like winter was the worst.
Yes.
But
hello, Austin.
And Commander Keen is a descendant of William B.J. Blazkowicz from Wolfenstein, which was their next game that they made. Wolfenstein, that's kind of when they Wolfenstein, that's when they made that pivot to we are making adult games, we are hunting Hitler and shooting dogs.
Tom didn't like that.
What?
Which part?
Which Tom?
I mean, Tom
Hall.
Okay.
Both Toms.
Not that I'm condoning shooting dogs. I'm not like, what? Come on.
I mean, Tom put away his Commander Keen cosplay and he said, well, now it's time to be an adult.
Yeah,
strapped on like World War II fatigues from your grandpa.
Yeah, I mean, as groundbreaking as Doom was to the world, I think Wolfenstein was probably more groundbreaking to me because that's the first time I ever saw first-person gameplay at all.
Laid the groundwork. They try to. I mean, it's one of those things where it's really hard to define what was the first-person shooter. There was like a battle tank game way earlier.
Yeah, there was Ultima Underworld.
It's all polygonal.
Catacomb 3D.
They left Apogee, or no, they left Softdisk to go to Apogee. And Softdisk was unhappy that they were using some of their computers to work on Commander Keen, so they had to make a game for Softdisk every month or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they were working on different iterations of that first person gameplay. And you can see them kind of getting better at it. But Wolfenstein was their first big success. And I would want to call that the first person shooter story mode.
Yeah.
To me, that's what I would say it is. Other people will make arbitrary arguments about that shit, but
I was there, guys. I saw it. And Wolfenstein was big.
It's still a fun game. I have the Game Boy Advance port, which is very hard to find.
Whoa.
It's really good, actually. Yeah, it works.
Do you still shoot rats in that instead of the dogs in that version? Or is it
Nope.
They put the dogs back in?
It's all
we can't shoot dogs. We'll shoot mice instead.
It's all Nazis and they go, Mein Leben.
Yes.
Those are just kind of the things that happened before we got to the big old demon in the room, the big old caca-demon in the room.
Oh, yeah.
Doom 1 released on MS-DOS December 10th, 1993.
Fuck yeah, MS-DOS boot disc for life. Oh.
Is that because you needed a disk to actually start up MS-DOS?
You didn't need a disk to start up MS-DOS, but sometimes you needed to have a disk to boot directly, free up all the memory you could to run a game, basically.
Okay.
So you just it would load up just the drivers you needed to run the game. Yeah.
What were you playing games with sticks and stones?
Dude, this is real. There's people listening to this right now. They're like, I know, preach, brother. Yeah.
And you said you were working in a video game store or some sort. What kind of a store were you working in when this came out? You mentioned
not for the first Doom.
Okay.
When Doom 2 came out, I was working at Walmart. We could talk about that. But Doom 1, yeah, when that released, that was, I think I heard about that fairly quickly after it got uploaded. And I don't know if that was due to just the popularity, it made an explosion all at once, or the fact that it was actually uploaded to a Wisconsin server for the,
I love the story of the University of Wisconsin server crashing when they uploaded it. Just everything just fell apart.
And all the IT guys didn't know what to do. Just the thought of that, and they're just like, I can't figure it out.
Yeah, it was huge. Everybody played that episode of the first game.
And I think one of the things that's so powerful about Doom is it's kind of self-aware fuck you to a lot of the story. We are here for fast-paced action. Yeah. We're here to shoot demons. We enjoy shooting demons. That's what we do. Mm-hmm. And I know Tom Hall really wanted to work on the story, start off with like 4 Marines or playing cards. And John Carmack has a great quote. He says, story in a game is like story in a porn movie. It's expected to be there, but it's not that important. And actually, Tom Hall was pushed out of the company because he was so pushing on for that story mode. Yeah, first episode of Doom releases as shareware, and they got to a point where they're making like $100,000 a week. They're making some obscene amounts of money. Doom was runaway.
Yeah, it spread like wildfire. You couldn't escape it. Everybody knew about Doom. Everybody made copies for their friends. Whether you played games or not, little grandma down the road who had a PC to do her taxes, she probably loaded up Doom because it was the thing.
And that first little taste was free. It was almost it's pretty.
That's a drug dealer giving you a little bit of like a serious drug, and then you get hooked on it.
Later on, a lot of Telltale games would adopt that method because they went through an episodic structure as well.
Yeah.
And so they'll give you the first one for free, and they'll be like, "Come on,
come on." Yeah, but the other thing you got to consider is back then there wasn't an internet.
Exactly. Yeah.
There was no way to just go and download a demo. It was all about like, hey man, look, you got to play this. You know, it's like bringing your game to school and trading with your friends. Except in this case, they let you make copies. They're like, make all the copies you want, give them to everybody. And it was so important to the proliferation of this game.
Yeah, just marketing in general.
But the first one, it was just all like they were able to go around having to go through this company and that company by having it's
direct.
It was very forward thinking. Doom has that
forward, but I think is also a necessity
for a small company. Those are just
small company, yeah, right.
Well,
those are four dudes that were able to change the face of gaming from like a couple apartments in Madison, Wisconsin. Mad props.
Yeah,
everyone loves the story mode. Everyone likes fighting demons, but I don't think we can not address how great multiplayer was too.
So much fun.
Invented the term deathmatch.
Deathmatch, yeah.
Were you taking a part of the multiplayer back in the day?
No, I wasn't, at least not for Doom 1. Doom 2 was the first game that I've ever hooked up. Me and my buddy.
Cables?
Yep, we hooked up via our serial ports on the back of our computers next to each other. And it's the first time I ever pressed a button on one computer, looked at my other monitor from the other computer, and watched my guy walk away and towards the screen, and my mind was fucking blown. I'm like,
oh yeah,
that's so cool.
Awesome.
And it's probably the last time I played a multiplayer game.
Yeah, it was the only time.
That's right.
Tom,
give me Skyrim.
Tom, I'm willing to usher you into Final Fantasy 14 if that's what you really want.
Oh, baby. Okay, well, we'll talk after the podcast then.
I'm a gentle guide.
But no, I didn't officially play any of the multiplayer in Doom, but that was also huge. Just such an awesome selling point for the game.
Without Doom, you don't have Halo, which was the biggest phenomenon.
I don't think you have most of where we're at.
Well, but they would multiplayer.
Oh, multiplayer, yeah.
They would have came around eventually in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Carmack was the one who got that fucker rolling, though. He took a still stone and started pushing that fucker down a hill, and then it started careening.
You really just have to wonder if he was smarter than the people at Nintendo at this time, and they were genius developers. Just what is going on in this dude's head?
There's a lot of what ifs.
Do you subscribe to him on Twitter?
No, I don't.
I want to.
Oh, that's right. You should, because you won't understand any of it. It's great because he just speaks in code, and
that's awesome.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of what ifs with Carmack's career too, because Nintendo had a chance of working exclusively with Carmack and getting Nintendo stuff on the PC, or you have this guy with able to create this new form of technology with gaming. They could have grabbed him to do something else. They could have taken Carmack, and then Bill Gates. Doom was installed on more PCs than Windows 95.
Well, it took away his thunder, too.
Right.
I did see those commercials.
Pissed off Weezer, man.
Where Bill Gates blows the shit out of a demon.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, that video. Yeah.
And he says, not while I'm talking.
And he's wearing his pajamas.
He's got an Obi-Wan robe, or is it
the fuck?
He thought it was a trench coat. It was a robe. But he's holding a fucking
bathrobe.
He's like
holding a boomstick. Oh my God. So the Windows 95 port of Doom was led by Gabe Newell. So he was there working on some of the groundwork for Doom as well. A lot
much skinnier, less freaky.
I can only imagine.
He also worked on Microsoft Excel, I believe. Best Microsoft game.
Yeah, I hear they're bringing Half-Life 3 to Microsoft Excel, so that'll be great.
Oh, God, I can't wait.
I love the spreadsheet function.
In Half-Life or in Excel?
Both.
Oh, both of them. But apart from multiplayer being such an important part of Doom, I'm just so impressed that they knew to make it moddable, like friendly for modders.
Mm-hmm.
Because they
That's
had
so forward.
they had such a simple setup. They had WAD files where you would be able to alter levels, alter demons, this, that, or the other thing. And they call them where's all the data was what WAD stands for. So they just had like a little WAD section of the game. The community just starts building their own levels. They start building on the multiplayer experience. And they actually released some of the subsequent releases of Doom included that.
Yep.
They had official releases where creators
The
made
modded
content.
levels. Yeah.
I remember playing one
Final Doom.
particularly that had it was a rubber chicken mod where everyone fought with rubber chickens.
Nice.
Necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, this was literally, I knew nothing about computers. I was in high school, and I was hanging out with a bunch of guys who really knew this stuff. And then they're like, Dylan, just come play. I'm like, I don't want to. And it's like, it's funny, though. Like, we're all playing with, like, and then it was literally just a cacophony. It was all LAN, and it was all caw, 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 caw. And it was just like, you could hear it throughout the entire. His mom came down and yelled at us.
No rubber chicks in this house.
Yep.
I want to see you shooting demons. Damn it.
Demons only.
Right.
This is a Christian household.
That's right.
In our first section of weird audio from Doom games, one of the demons that when you shoot it, the sound it makes is a camel mating call.
Is it
We'll actually cut that in so it's not just me and Dylan.
Yeah.
There are some weird sound effects in these
Better
games.
than turtles fucking. You know that one?
What game is that in?
Have you ever watched a turtle
Is that
fucking video?
every Pokemon? Is that like Pokemon games or?
No, it's literally, you've never seen a turtle fucking a shoe?
That's a Squirtle call.
No, I've seen the video. Yeah, yeah.
The turtle tries to fuck the shoe, but it goes,
Yeah, we're cutting
Very
this
funny.
out.
Wow.
oh, come on.
Oh no, this is gold.
Oh, this is gold.
comedy gold.
The Ultimate Doom released April 30th, 1995 with the fourth official episode, Thy Flesh Consumed. There was 4 different episodes you could get.
Yep.
Fun to note that, I don't know if it's John Romero living in the glory days still or playing the one-hit wonders, but he released an unofficial 5th episode, May 22nd, 2019.
Yeah, I remember that.
Called Sigil, which he's the guy who's making the level design.
Yeah,
in a big
he's
way.
he's the designer. What about it's different or new? I've never heard of this.
It's more of the same. I just think it's more interesting
Yeah,
levels and
I
just
think
kind of him pushing it still.
Yep,
Okay.
just like an anniversary deal. You know, and maybe like probably a little bit of narcissism there.
Well, it all became about narcissism. For
Like,
John
hey, I'm still here, guys. Check out our new Mafia game on mobile.
My hair's still
Hey.
long.
Yes, which I heard is actually pretty good.
Ah, it must be. I'd love to meet him.
Before Doom 2, the story, Doom guy on Mars, hates demons, kills demons, goes to hell, kills Spider Demon, finds out demons invaded Earth, and when he gets to Earth, his pet rabbit Daisy was killed by demons.
Oh shit.
Yes.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It's like John Wick Part 0 or something like that.
That's pretty interesting, though. Imagine it. Well, I mean, technically, John Wick had a full, rich life of killing a lot of people before.
I was watching Hugo Martin and Chris Stratton from the modern id Software making the Doom games, and they cited John Wick as one of their influences. And yeah, and it's
I would say
maybe
yes.
John Wick was influenced by Doom as well. Kind of that
Yeah.
attitude. Other major releases of Doom 1 include the Sega 32X, the Atari Jaguar, the Acorn Archimedes, the Game Boy Advance, the
Yeah.
iOS, amongst
Jaguar
many
actually had a
others.
decent port.
I've played the Game Boy Advance Doom.
The SNES port is fucking garbage.
Impossible.
Straight up.
Yeah.
But you said the Jaguar was good?
The Jaguar wasn't bad, but I don't think it had music to it. Like,
What?
yeah, I don't think there were.
So
I think it was just sound
quiet
effects.
till You hear,
And I think the 32X version was also lauded as being okay, but
No, the 32X, it looked good, but they couldn't do the sound.
is that the 32X version?
The music sounds like garbage.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I don't. Yeah, like I said, I don't think Jaguar had the music, but I think it was full screen at least. All the others kind of had to be letterboxed, or in the case of the SNES, you're playing a postage stamp in the middle of with the Super Effects chip.
I mean, controversially, I think Sega's like when you knew how to work around its like sound chips and stuff like that, it sounds excellent. But if you don't know how to use it and you can't like transmogrify it, you are screwed.
It is distinct. Sega's definitely a very specific sound, but when it's done right,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look
Gorgeous.
at Sonic the Hedgehog.
I mean, look at that shit.
Yeah.
He's blue.
Look and listen.
So Doom 1, massive fucking runaway hit. So naturally, they're going to go ahead and push forward to make Doom 2.
I would say Doom 1 is a hit. Then comes...
Okay, settle down.
It was a phenomenon. It was a phenomenon. But I think Doom 2, when Doom 2 came out, that was the holy shit moment.
Doom 2, Hell on Earth
Doom 2
releases...
is so much better.
Releases on MS-DOS October 10th, 1994.
I was there.
He was there. Tom, tell us about the release day. Because I was 6 years old at the time.
You were.
I was 4.
I was 14, I think. I was working at a...
Were you still 8 feet tall?
I was getting there. This is pure puberty, Tom. I think I had my growth spurt the year before. So, although I was a short little guy. I was working at a big retailer from Arkansas.
Is this one you got fired from?
Oh, I never got fired.
Bastard.
No, come on. Patreon. And Walmart carried some computer games. Not a lot, because who's going to fucking carry computer games in the middle of Wisconsin when computers cost at least $3,000? It wasn't a huge market for that kind of thing. However, when Doom 2 came out, I remember we got shipped full end caps. All the copies came in this big cardboard end cap that we had to set up like a stand. And I had never seen that before. And I was like, holy shit.
This is
like
real.
Computer gaming has arrived. And not only that, but I think most of the copies in that stand were all CD-ROM. People don't understand that like CD-ROMs were not, did not have a high proliferation rate back in that time. Even if you had a PC.
Well, people were even in terms of like CDs as a medium in general, like people were still listening to cassettes pretty regularly.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I mean,
let alone trying to like
the music industry. Yeah.
Using that for a media. So that was a huge thing. And I remember we sold through a lot of those copies almost immediately.
Were there people lined out the door? Is this like the start of?
No, this was still the age of, I think maybe Sonic the Hedgehog was the only game that ever had a like specific release date that they tried to hit. This was still in the age of, there's not really a release date.
Yeah.
You get it when you get it.
Yeah.
You get it when you get it.
That's why they still have trouble deciding what days certain NES games released, because you just can't pinpoint it. Like some stores would be like Sears, they'll release it on like 3 days earlier than the last place. It's nuts.
For sure.
Yeah.
And being a video game fan back in that day, it was difficult. I annoyed a lot of people calling around for games. So we can talk about that on another podcast. But seriously, but this was the first time I ever saw a mass promoted PC game.
So you had Adrian Carmack, who was really embracing the devil imagery, the demonic stuff. He liked creating that. But Romero and Carmack, the two names everyone likes to talk about. Carmack is just keeping his head down, working on the technology. And then Romero, I mean, both of them bought fancy ass fucking cars right away. But Romero buys a mansion. Yeah. And there are stories.
He seems like he would.
There's still some good pictures of his cars.
I love the documentary. I forget which one it was that I watched. Every picture they have of Romero is him making a dumb face, and they're like doing slow zooms in on it, because that's like the only one they got of him was.
I know.
But apparently, most of the development for Doom 2, you have Romero just playing Doom multiplayer for like 8 hours a day. That's all. He's just still playing Doom 1 and not doing shit. But something that is important about him is I think everybody likes him in the company.
Yeah.
He's really personable. Everyone likes talking with him, whereas you have Carmack, who had a lot of issues once Romero left, because Carmack's just this guy who says, it's going this way, we're doing it this, like we're working on this specific thing.
Yeah. He was a guy, not a lot of personability.
Instead of Romero coming in, what's up, motherfuckers? Let's drink 10 beers and not work for all day today.
God, he could convince me so easily.
Yeah. I want to party with Romero, but someone's got to be working like Carmack in the background.
Right.
Doom 2, I think that the development was pretty straightforward. Introduce the super shotgun story. Earth is invaded. The Doom guy enters hell. This happens again. And he fights the icon of sin, Baphomet. The icon of sin has John Romero's face hidden behind it, which they were going to keep in as a little joke, but John Romero found it and then actually added like a sound effect to it.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember shooting it.
I found it, guys.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
An expansion was released in 95, December 26th, the day after Christmas. They're like, all right, here you go. Master levels for Doom 2, 21 new levels created by the Doom community, which we were talking about before, user-created content.
All that content, baby.
So you're saying Doom 2 is the better game, though?
Doom 2 is so much better.
You just played through Doom 1 and 2?
I played Doom 1, 2, and I'm halfway through 3.
You're playing Doom 3 right now.
I'm playing Doom 3 on the Switch.
I tried to play Doom 3. Man, I didn't care
It's not bad.
It's not bad. It's different.
It's different.
But before we get there, Doom 1 and Doom 2, what do you think are the biggest differences, or just more refined?
Purely almost textural in the nature of the graphics in Doom 2 is so much better. There's more up and down. There's more verticality. Yep. Even though your character himself can't aim up and down, there's more of a sense that when you shoot an enemy, even though he's higher up, it feels like you're going to hit him anyway. One of the things I found really fascinating is that it's a purely horizontal game. Yeah. Even though you're moving on levels, it doesn't matter because you're thinking of things in terms of like 90-degree angles at that point.
Well, it's not even technically a 3D game.
Well, and
under the hood.
And a few things I noticed, even when you're like spot on to a character and you try hitting them, sometimes the bullets miss a little. It's almost got this realistic randomness to it that they don't do that with newer games anymore, unless you're playing like the early parts of Fallout 4 or 3. Where no matter what, your gun isn't going to hit someone.
That's in Fallout 76 as well, right?
I think there are
all of that is. I think that's running on the Doom engine.
But Doom 2, as far as design choices as well.
So do you think, is it mainly designed? Because I haven't played these games back since I played them back then. And I always thought it was just Doom 2 was just more levels.
So one's levels are indistinct at some points. And so
but the technology, is the technology the same?
It's not. It's Doom 2 was graphically better. There were more like steps, there were more levels, things were laid out a bit differently. There are more angles. For someone who's very map oriented like myself, you can see angles in like the architecture, and then you have better ideas of what landmarks you were in. And the first one, when you're trying to roam around and you're finding all those key cards and you're really trying to figure out the way that this map works, sometimes you can get really, really confused. But in Doom 2, I had a sense that I knew where I was going and I knew what I was doing because at least 4 times throughout the game, they start shifting their design choices. Like early on, I remember that there's an area where there are shutters going up and down. And behind it are demons, and you have to practice when you're shooting. But you will remember that room because they made a distinct choice there.
John Romero's level design philosophy, and something that he does every time you're going to change your height, moving from this room to that room, change the floor, the color, the texture of the floor.
Yep.
Change the ceiling too if you can. So almost anytime you're going to be changing where you're at physically, they're altering the way the textures look, the way the level looks. Also, anytime that you are changing rooms as well, like any angles, there's like a distinct outline of every angle too, which really helps navigating your way through these levels, which if you look back now, they seem pretty basic. But despite that, the Doom gameplay, from my experience playing it just the other day, it holds up so much. Yeah. It's a game that I was thinking about as I was going to bed. I'm like, I want to play more.
I want to play this shit.
It's fast. The demons are fun to shoot. The modern Doom demons are so directly...
they're the same thing.
Designed after that. They're the same thing. And I'm excited because Doom Eternal is bringing a lot of the demons from Doom 2 that weren't in Doom 1. Did you watch that video about the new demons that are coming out? Yeah. It's so great that they're taking that. Oh, I love it so much.
Well, I want to be surprised.
A few design choices that I thought were really cool, especially in Doom 2, is when you're using the run feature, it also functions as the jump feature.
I know what you're talking about.
So, like, if there's a ledge,
if you hold it down, you mean?
But if you're running and there's a gap between it, you can jump just by running.
Oh, just by
and because there's no jump button, there's no dedicated.
But you can make the gap with the dash.
Yeah,
button.
exactly. But that counts to me as a jump. But that's not something going into it. Even now, as a modern gamer, I started playing a level and I'm like, well, how the fuck do I get over there? And it turns out you can just run across and then you're there. Yeah. I think it's so cool.
It's great. And I think one thing that gets overlooked, and correct me if I'm wrong, but just having the overlay of the map like real time.
Yes.
When you're going around.
You're an arrow, essentially.
That was the first game I might have been in Doom 1 as well. But
it was.
I mean, that was kind of huge. That was the first time I ever saw like, oh, I can just hit the tab button or whatever it was. Tilde and
to even think about though that it shows you all the rooms and stuff, but the gray areas are the ones you haven't visited. So essentially, almost like in a Super Metroid, Metroidvania way. It shows you where you haven't been, so it's its own level of like clue giving.
I was looking at the different inspirations behind Doom, and one of the things they mentioned is Pac-Man, which it sounds obtuse at first, but when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. You're navigating the different maps, and you're you're eating demons. Right. I don't know.
Get those fucking power pellets.
That's actually very valid. That's cool.
They were also influenced by, Evil Dead, which is a very kind of obvious one, self-aware one.
Especially Evil Dead 2.
Aliens.
Yeah, maybe not as much as Duke Nukem.
Do you know where the title Doom came from?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, of all people.
The Hustler or The Color of Money?
The Color of Money.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's in that box when he's carrying his pool stick in and he goes,
Doom.
It's a Doom.
Katie Holmes.
It's Katie Holmes.
He goes,
It's the soul of Katie
Scientology.
Holmes.
L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Xandar, the super alien sage.
That's right. Thetans, baby. Thetans going to kill you.
Are you depressed? Let's get those readings.
I don't know where this is going.
Dude. If
Do they have like a Scientology mod for Doom?
I was saying no.
Doing improv.
Doom Eternal, they're bringing in some new things, but if after that you have to fight the leaders of Scientology, that DLC would blow up. Other notable releases of Doom 2 include the Mac OS, Game Boy Advance, and the Tapwave Zodiac.
I played the Game Boy Advance version of this as well. However, it was bad.
Excuse me, what is a Tapwave Zodiac?
It's like a phone system.
Yeah, dude.
It looks cool.
Sorry,
There was a couple of page ads I've seen in Game Pros.
My favorite is the Nokia Flippy Dip.
The
My
N-Gage.
favorite, yeah.
The N-Gage.
N-Gage.
Let me tell you.
N-Gage.
So after Doom 2, well, actually, another thing that was influencing Doom was the Dungeons and Dragons campaigns that they used to have. They were holding a years-long campaign where eventually demons invaded and took over the world they were in.
Right.
Sounds very Doom-like. The next thing that they were working on was Quake. And Quake was, I don't know if it was a good character or a bad character. It was a character.
It was a good guy. It was a guy who helped them on their quest. He was a guy with a giant hammer.
Yes, because that was the core concept of Quake originally, was that it was going to be like a first-person melee game.
From what I understand, a few things that I read, it was a character who helped them slay like this impossible demon. And he was called Quake because obviously giant hammer, smash it on the ground, it creates an earthquake.
I didn't write down too much about.
You get it?
I get it. I'm down with that.
No, I'm
It's a great
serious.
explanation.
So they actually
Chex Quest.
Diabetes.
So with this game, they actually
yes.
What they wanted to do is, especially John Romero, he wanted a battle system that revolved around first-person melee combat, but they could not get the physics to work.
It was taking so long.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, but he tried.
And it was...
He tried.
Well, eventually they just decided, let's just release something kind of close to Doom because we needed out the fucking door to make money.
Well, this had vertices, and they also got who for the soundtrack?
Trent Reznor.
Trent Reznor or...
Yes. I want to do you like an...
I want to make you a guardian. Is that Trent?
Where are my flowers? What?
That's
Everclear.
Hi, Tom.
Yeah.
I didn't know what you were singing. The guy that he did the girl with the dragon tattoo soundtrack.
Hey, he's from South Dakota. What are you gonna do?
Everclear is the band that has daddy issues.
Everclear. We
Yes.
drank that in South Dakota. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, everyone drank Everclear.
Of course, Fred Durst made the Doom 3 soundtrack.
Oh, that explains a lot.
There are a few games out now that are very first-person melee combat focused. One is called Morehow. Very good. I've played it.
Yeah.
I would never play it regularly because everyone is so much better than me, and I don't have the patience or the time. Also, if you're looking for single player, like Tom,
Yeah, sure.
I would suggest
Deliverance.
That movie's scary. I don't like that. I don't want to squeal like
No,
Squeaky.
it's Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Ned Beatty.
Sorry.
Deliverance in 3D. I don't want to play that game.
Kingdom Come Deliverance is like Skyrim.
Ned Beatty's the
on
best NPC.
steroids.
Okay.
Clearly, we're just talking about Ned
Or
Beatty.
let's just. How about Oblivion? How about Skyrim? Great first person.
It's very
Great
immersive. When you run
combat.
forward to hit them, and then you back up so they can't hit you, and you just run back and forth.
You just slice the same arm movement
Or you
constantly.
get to a place where you can fire off arrows and they can't reach you and they keep running at you.
Yes, so they were not able to get that working even today, let alone back then. Romero became so frustrated he forced to resign.
Yeah.
Also, I have a feeling he probably wasn't doing much work. He was probably just playing Doom and banging hookers and doing blow in his mansions.
Yeah, I think when you get successful, a lot
Some
of these
people can't handle
tensions
it.
kind of rear up.
Have you seen the picture of his mansion? Very 90s.
Everything about that guy seems very 90s back then.
Mm-hmm.
Before Doom 3, though, we have Doom 64. Yeah, I hear it's kind of underrated, and it's kind of an oddity.
Yeah.
Developed by Midway.
They don't port it to a lot of things.
It's getting it has a port coming out
I heard
very
something
soon.
about that.
For what?
For the Switch.
Oh, good.
Yep. If you pre-order Doom Eternal, you get Doom 64.
For the Switch?
Actually, no, that's just for everything.
Am I going to be the one who plays Doom Eternal on the Switch?
Once it comes out, it doesn't have an official.
Do you want to be that guy?
I'm going to.
You got a PC though.
Listen, it's full of Final Fantasy 14 and Witcher 3.
He has a lot of costumes in Final Fantasy 14. There's no room.
Oh God.
I don't.
You had to go for the SSD, man.
Come on. Everyone's going to make fun of me.
No, nobody's making fun of you.
Doom 64 had some tragic missteps.
Yes.
No
was on
multiplayer. It was on the N64. That was it. That was the misstep. There was no multiplayer mode since people thought split screen was dumb. It's not viable. No one will want to play anything.
GoldenEye.
GoldenEye had the up-down axis and multiplayer and just beat the shit out of Doom 64.
That's fair.
The story, humans, so this is a continuation of Doom 1 and Doom 2, which I think this is only important we talk about the story just a little bit because Doom Eternal is going to do something to all of it. But
okay, so this is actually a sequel.
It is a sequel. The humans attempted to blow up the moons of Mars to eradicate any surviving demons from Doom 1 and Doom 2. One survived that could resurrect fallen demons, and that's why Doom 64 had to happen. You know,
Very interesting.
id Software did oversee the project, but Midway developed it. It's getting its
We'll take your money.
It's getting its first big port soon. I don't have any personal experience with Doom 64. It sounds like you might, Dylan.
Yeah, I played it at a friend's house, and we played it quite a bit. We were really bad at it. I'm still not the greatest at video games. I'll be the first to admit that. However, it was so much fun. I can't remember what we were listening to. It was probably that first Gorillaz album. Or, I mean...
Like the, I have it, I'm feeling
That's a
better.
good song.
Yeah.
It was fine. We didn't get far, though. I can't really say that. I will play it to completion when it comes out on the Switch.
Was this one of those games that was like $80? Like most N64 games?
That's some garbage back in the day.
No, I think because it was so well known, they kept it to like 50 or 60. Though at this stage in my life, your parents are the ones buying the video games. You don't pay attention to prices unless you're like, Mom, but it's only this much.
How much is that?
Honestly,
I'm buying that shit.
I think Doom 2 is the last really important multiplayer entry in the franchise. Doom 3 didn't have anything I think was too notable. Doom 2016 had a multiplayer component.
It was bad.
It was developed
Nobody
by
played
somebody else, though.
Yeah.
And
it's bad.
It was an afterthought.
it was
Did
an
you guys
afterthought.
actually play it?
I attempted to, and it just seemed so undercooked.
It's undercooked and very obtuse.
Yep. Multiplayer, which was very integral to the original Doom 1 and Doom 2. I think Doom 64 is the first part where that just separates itself from what Doom really is.
Sure.
After Doom 64, the Columbine shooters, apparently they played a lot of Doom, and they had even edited some levels.
Yeah.
And one of them had
reenact
made a
their-
comment about how it'll be like this.
Allow me to be clear.
You don't support school shootings.
Well, first of all, that.
Edit it out. Bad joke.
No,
No, that's actually pretty funny.
I think we can all, as a dogcast, share that
School shootings
stance.
are really bad.
They're not good.
I will say this. I've actually, not surprisingly for Dylan, I have read up about these guys quite a bit, and they're all fucking full of shit. This is part of their defense test, or like not their defense testimony. This is their way of being, yeah, well, you know, it's society that did this to us. It's not us that are completely ripped and destroyed by our own psyche.
Yeah.
It's Joe Lieberman and Hillary Clinton looking for scapegoats and something to talk about.
It's a scapegoat, and it's also like dudes were not bullied; they were getting fucked all the time.
There you go.
But it was sued by the parents of the people killed in Columbine.
Yep, this is one of those moments where, video games were once again
freedom of speech has to
thrown back in the spotlight as being...
Doom was always a very obvious talking point because it is heavy metal, demons, and it's so easy to attack that.
I'm gonna ask you guys a question. What, for each of you, is the most violent video game you have ever played? Tom?
Jeez, the most violent...
It
video
depends on
game.
how you want to define violence, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of like pure slaughter.
Like a hatred or something?
Like maybe something like that, because mine
One-time destruction?
One destruction, yeah.
Maybe Grand Theft Auto 3.
I mean, you can. But
There are segments where you just the point is to like just you don't have to, but there are points where you're supposed to kill a certain number of a gang.
I remember Soldier of Fortune, like one of the first games that ever had like actual area damage, where you could literally shoot a person's face off.
Sure. I feel the violence in a lot of war games is contextualized to an extent where you're in a war and you're fighting for a reason, this or that.
Yeah.
As far as just, wanton destruction, Grand Theft Auto 3, I remember
Postal 2.
I remember I picked up a hooker and you just go park your car somewhere and the car starts shaking.
Then they get out and you can kill the hooker. But I mean,
take your money back.
It's really
what?
It's not explicitly like told to you. It's not a goal.
There is a lot of kind of just killing people.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, we are not violent men. My most violent video.
Are we talking about good games that are the most violent, or
I mean, I don't know,
just violence for violence sake?
I played Mad World for the Wii. That one was really.
I always wanted to play that one.
It's really good.
Yep.
I don't own it anymore. I wish I could borrow it.
Damn it, Dylan! Come on.
I don't know.
That's like the only system we have in common.
Is it really? Well, we got
the Switch.
Yeah.
How does Bloodborne stack up against, say, Oregon Trail? And is Bomberman just Lode Runner from a different point of view? Find out on Hardcore Gaming 101's Top Games, where we objectively, definitively, and scientifically rank the games you nominate for our ever-growing list. HG 101's Top Games, twice a week, every week, right here on Greenlit.
In this quarter on the Greenlit Podcast Network, Chris Sims and Matt Wilson. And in this quarter, VHS oddities, confusing animation, and modern not-so-classics.
Plus snacks, movie fighters.
We watch movies and beat them up.
Doom 3 released on Windows on my birthday, my freshman year of high school in 2004, August 3rd.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Brad.
I remember, I mean, I did buy it. I don't know if it wasn't like a release day buy, but I was excited. During the development of this, Carmack became kind of a taskmaster, and he made a lot of demands about what this was going to be and how it was going to go. And I know a lot of the staff were unhappy with him because he didn't have that Romero over there convincing everyone that it was still fun and cool.
Well, it went more narrative.
Well, here, John Carmack's philosophy, he's really into technology, being an innovator, pushing technology forward. So to him, like the games were always, I'm going to make this cool engine and now just build a game around it. So with Doom 3, I have all these ideas for this cool lighting technology with the flashlight. This is going to be the engine that powers our next game. So go ahead, build a game. Let's make it a Doom game. I don't know if it was actually him that said that. But
no, but I think it's implied. When you have someone with such a celebrity status, I don't know if you can get past that.
He was focused on the technology.
I don't think he really cares about the game. I mean, same thing with Quake. I think he's like, look, here's our new engine. We're 3D fucking accelerators are coming out, like graphics cards. I want to make tessellations, and for Quake 3, I want to like be able to have arches and round vertices. And now you go make a game around this. So
it is a complete change of pace. And I saw one of the developers talking, and he said, while it is completely different, I don't believe it is not a valid exploration of a Doom world. It is a Doom world with its different enemies and their different attack patterns. It is still Doom.
Yeah.
It is very much a different gameplay, though.
Yeah.
And I played through the first level and a half, 2 levels of this, something like that.
Well, this is truly, to me, this is the precursor to BioShock. This is the one I feel like when they were making BioShock. I feel like Ken Levine looked at this game and he said, okay, I can actually make this really good. And I think that's truly what this game, to me, like this was a crucial stepping stone. This is the audio logs. This is almost... I think what they wanted to achieve with this game that they didn't quite achieve is that
I never actually played this game, so
it is one of those first person immersive simulations.
With the audio logs, I'm wondering if they were, I don't know, if they looked at System Shock 2 or something and were like
System
a little
Shock
bit.
2 has it, but some of it's voice acted and some of it's not. I think he saw Doom 3 and I think he saw more ways of that storytelling.
Right. I just wonder if one was inspired by the other. And kind of like an Uncharted Tomb Raider, Uncharted kind of thing, you know?
Exactly. I think that's truly what it was.
Yeah.
There's so much DNA in that for that. And to be fair, it doesn't hold up very well. It's a fine game.
Technologically pretty impressive, at least from what I see. For the time, yeah.
That was the best looking game you could have.
And you had to have a pretty decent rig at the time to run that at full capacity.
The fact that I've played half of this game back in the day and I was able to just play through these opening levels again and I didn't remember it means it didn't leave a good impression, a good enough impression. Yep. I see what you're talking about, the BioShock DNA, because it is there. But the fact that you had to have the flashlight be separate from your guns was an important...
Asinine.
It's asinine. Some people try and make the argument it's good for survival horror, but anyone in the fucking 22nd century has got duct tape, and they just duct tape it to a gun. You don't
think your Doom Marine could have fucking strapped that flashlight?
Or you're holding one pistol. You can at least with your pistol just have like the flashlight.
Yeah,
with the other hand.
They hold the flashlight underneath when they're gripping the bottom of the gun.
You think they would do that?
Fucking A.
The story,
so stupid.
The story, some shit happens.
How do you hold your guns?
You know I hold my guns.
Never held a handgun in my life, actually.
Really?
I don't
Ever?
Think so. I don't think so.
It's fun to shoot a handgun.
Yeah,
it's a very important story of you're a space marine. You're on Mars. UAC is bad. Dr. Malcolm Betruger. Malcolm Betruger. Which it's interesting to note that this character does come back in Doom Annihilation, the newest movie.
Oh, great.
He works with Hell. You get a soul cube, blah, blah. You fight a cyber demon. There was an expansion released April 3rd, 2005 that introduced the double barrel shotgun, a grabber gun similar to Half-Life 2, which they were given crap about, but they're like, fuck you.
Like a portal gun?
Not a portal gun.
It's like a gun that picks things up.
You can grab things.
A gravity gun.
Gravity gun.
Yeah, I played the ultimate version of Doom 3.
Sure.
And then the BFG edition came out in 2012. And what's interesting about that
long?
Yeah, that's when it came out. But it's interesting to note that
that's weird.
It added a flashlight.
It's canon now.
It added a flashlight to the guns. So you didn't have to pull your flashlight out.
Wow.
Which that's a great thing that they changed. But they also, so you're trying to make a survival horror game, and they did. And then with the BFG edition, they kind of stepped back. They added ammo in large quantities everywhere. So you never run out of ammo, which is taking specifically away from...
it ruins the mechanic.
It ruins what you made.
Yeah.
Removed muzzle flashes on some guns for some reasons.
Okay.
The way bodies would fall was different, and they would not fall on top of each other. They would collide into each other.
Was this made by id? Or is this ported out to another?
I believe it was by id.
Okay.
It added checkpoint saving.
Well, this is in the era when they thought they were going to release Doom 4. So
yeah, it was like a re-release trying to get people excited, probably.
But that Doom 4 was in development hell, so they couldn't.
Because this is like Rage time when they were doing Rage.
For some reason, they added unskippable cutscenes.
Oh, always a good idea.
I love watching.
Everyone loves that. Many enemy counters were removed.
FPS.
And they added another thing. But that was Doom 3. The next very important thing was in 2005. September 13th, they released Doom RPG. I guess Carmack was on vacation, and he looked at his phone and said, hey, we could put a Doom on there.
Right. I got my N gauge. Let's fucking do it.
Before I started researching for this,
It's supposed to be okay.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I imagine it must.
If Carmack's involved with something, it'll at least be interesting. Yeah. But it's important to note that this is the game that says Doom 3 and Doom 1, 2, and 64 are in the same universe, and you're playing the Doom guy in all of them.
Oh. This is a game that finally settles that dispute?
It says that, and a lot of people won't say Doom RPG is canon, but it is canon, but it's also not canon. Depending on how you want to argue about it.
I can't believe Doom has a fucking canon.
Right now?
October 21st, 2005. October 21st. This was a good release date for the movie Doom, starring
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Of course, from WWF fame.
And Carl Urban.
Carl Urban, who was not as big of a name at the time, but the fact that Carl Urban becomes the Doom guy makes me very happy. This movie sucks.
Rosamund Pike.
Rosamund Pike's in there, yeah.
I like her. She's good. Gone Girl. Awesome.
I love Rosamund Pike, but the story is so garbage. It's not about hell.
Yeah.
It's not about demons. It's
they
about
made it PG-13.
It's about a 24th chromosome.
What?
So they find
it's about Down syndrome.
It's about the 24th chromosome. They find human-like DNA on Mars.
This is amazing.
At this research facility. And
It's like the Lawnmower Man.
if you inject your
I've seen this movie, by the way. I know nothing about it except for the first person scene.
if you inject yourself to acquire this 24th chromosome, you either become Doom Guy essentially or a demon, depending on whether or not you're a good or a bad person.
So you've seen it. Have you seen this?
I saw it
seen
fucking
I
recently.
saw it in 2005, though.
I did too. Man, it was a letdown.
I don't remember much.
Yeah.
But you know what's
That's why I never saw it.
Okay.
I'm like this.
I was
What's
tired.
there are a few things that are fun. The character of Dr. Pinky, when he
Nice.
traveled through the portal
He
and it
puts
went
it in.
and
He
it,
puts it in the stinky.
Dr. Pinky, he puts it in the stinky. The teleportation went wrong from
Sorry,
Earth
Tom's
to
mom.
Mars, and Pinky lost his bottom half. So he's like in this weird wheelchair thing.
Yeah, I
and when he
remember.
becomes a demon, that's why he's like on
He's
all
like the
fours.
spider demon.
Okay.
He actually has wheels when he turns into a demon.
What? Like a rescue dog or something? Like
And they don't explain
the
it
back?
because
Rescue dog.
it's like flopping around.
because most humans that turn into demons takes a long time. They look like regular demons. Pinky just turns into a fucking rescue dog.
He turns into a standard Final Fantasy like enemy.
When the Rock grabs the BFG like 2/3 away in the movie, he looks at it and he goes, "Oh shit!"
Oh.
And if you there's about a 10-minute sweet spot where you should watch it, where Carl Urban takes the Doom DNA and there's a 5-minute sequence that's just all first person, which is so bad, but it's still so good. It's like Armageddon. It's terribly good.
That's yep.
But
That's the only-
then The Rock goes full demon at some point. He's about to die, and then there's like this shot that pulls away from his eye when he goes, and he turns like this vampire demon. And they have
From
like
the Scorpion King?
even worse.
no!
Even worse.
No.
19% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, yeah.
That was the Doom movie. Doom Resurrection was an original Doom game that came out on the iOS. It was an iPhone game.
The fuck?
Released June 26, 2009. It was a rail shooter featuring an unnamed character from Doom 3, blah, blah, Doom 2 RPG. Releases November 23rd, 2009. Another mobile phone game, blah, blah.
So Doom 2 RPG must be the same as the Doom 1 RPG. Just
Nothing really changed there. Doom 4 announced at QuakeCon in 2007 in development hell. A lot of things happened here. 2009, it was acquired by Bethesda Softworks. 2013, it was announced to still be in limbo. Many people said it was way too story focused. There was a lot of,
It became a military shooter.
it was a military shooter. People referred to it as Call
squad
of
based.
Doom.
Yeah.
Call of Doom.
I've seen
Well,
some
it's-
gameplay footage, and it does not look like. I mean, it looks like a
fun.
game I would like to play, maybe.
Yep.
But it doesn't look like Doom in any way.
It reminds me of the game Resistance. Do you remember that?
I never really
PlayStation
played
3?
Resistance, but I am familiar with it. Yes.
Yeah.
It's the same era, and it's essentially fighting off an alien invader in urban environments. And I'm just, I saw some of the concept footage for this, and I said, nope, this would have bored the living turds out of me.
And John Carmack, he was still kind of trying to force things to be a certain way. Eventually, he left id Software as soon as he could to go. He was one of the main people behind the Oculus VR. Am I surprised? Not at fucking all.
No, innovator.
Carmack is an innovator, and that's probably where he belongs. He should.
Good.
That and rockets. He likes rockets a lot.
I'm happy with the work he did for Doom 3, but yeah, he does like rockets.
He's
He's a rocket
enthusiast.
scientist.
Yeah, literally.
He needs to be working on the new technology and
Yeah,
not
that's his
leading
bread and
game design.
No.
No.
He should be a part of game design, but there you need to have somebody else.
I think if you ask him, he would rather not be at all.
Yeah.
I just put me in my office. I would just want to fucking code. I'm going to code you the best engine, the most innovative engine known to man right now. Push all the technological limits.
It's where he belongs. If there's anyone who can figure out
Yeah.
how to make this stuff not make you
And
barf.
he just actually just recent. He's still with Oculus, but he just recently took a reduced role. I think he's doing something else.
Sounds fine.
So
I believe in
I'm not sure what it is. I forgot.
There are two people that need to be talked about working in the Doom franchise from now on, and I didn't know how much I loved them until the past few weeks. Chris Stratton, kind of
Yep.
he's the new, what would you call it, the head of id Software,
Yeah.
and Hugo Martin, who is the game director for Doom.
He's the guy. If you hear interviews, he's usually the guy that's.
It's
doing
Hugo
that.
Martin and Chris Stratton, and those are the two guys that are spearheading Doom 2016 and the subsequent Doom Eternal.
Mhm.
And these guys fucking get it.
Yeah.
These guys know that the DNA of Doom is what they call it. Is that the first thing they started working on as soon as Carmack left? What makes Doom what it is, and how can we shift into the proper gameplay?
So Doom 4 was just straight up fucking axed, right?
Essentially, they did have the idea of glory kills was brought over from Doom 4. That was something that was worked on there.
Really cool melee finishers, yeah.
So they're like, okay, let's take all the cool things that
from
here
I saw
and salvage it.
I saw some really cool test footage. I believe it's in the No Clip YouTube documentary. Documentary.
Yeah.
And there's some like test footage of the glory kills. And just because because at first they weren't going to put them in there, but they had to prove that it functioned, and it did it very well. It's this balance you have to go through where you can't be too far from the enemy.
The way they went about creating Doom 2016, which we'll call it Doom 2016, it's essentially kind of considered a reboot.
It is.
Doom Eternal is going to confirm that it's not.
Oh, are we talking like dimension hopping?
They've said that the issue of whether or not the Doom Slayer from 2016 and the Doom guy are the same person from Dooms 1 through 3, they said we're going to address that issue in Doom Eternal, which I'm fucking excited about.
Okay. Guy in heaven, because you go to heaven in this one.
We don't know specifically, but they said we're gonna.
I already know too much about that fucking game, and
They said it'll be addressed. But one thing that's
going to give me a heart attack.
Everything they've been talking about before we get there, June 2016.
Yes.
One thing that these two guys talk about in every interview is they compare Doom to a chess game, which it seems not maybe odd at first, but when you think about it, it is. You're introducing new chess pieces that are going to be able on this map. And you are interacting with, they call Pinky like the rook because it's just charged at you. And it's fascinating the way that they compare it to a chess game, an incredibly fast-paced, demon-slaying, heavy metal, rip your demon stick off chess game. But that's what it is.
Castration by demon.
That's where I want to go. Tear a demon stick off in this new game.
You'll get to do some fun things.
I think I'm with you. You're the demon fluffer.
They worked until the last second to try and figure out how the story mode was going to work for this because they couldn't get it to feel right. They were trying to kind of go with conventional, like here's a tutorial, here's this. And Hugo Martin, he was watching The Last Boy Scout, and it was in the era when Bruce Willis was the action hero. And the bad guy walks into a room, and it was already self-aware, but the bad guy walks in the room and he says, "So you're the bad guy, huh?" They have this back and forth, which is very self-aware.
Yep.
They just take on the roles, they acknowledge what it is, and they go full speed at it, which is what they ended up doing. They've even asked Hugo, how late in development did you make a lot of these story decisions? He says, I can't tell you because you'd think it was irresponsible if you knew how late this was.
Yeah, I read that,
I thought they did a good job. I recently beat the game, or played it for the first time.
Recently?
Yeah, like
a week ago.
I literally beat it on Sunday, and Brad texted me like maybe an hour after I beat it, like, "Hey, you want to record the Doom episode?" I'm like, "Well, funny you say that."
That's awesome.
The opening is so fine-tuned to the entire experience because an opening of a movie, the opening of a game, you need to define what people are expecting from your game.
Yeah.
You get some demonic shit on your screen. You wake up, you're chained to a fucking coffin. It goes full speed into what you're supposed to. You're holding a gun all of a sudden, and everyone's like, wait a second. And you just get to start shooting people.
Oh, it feels so good.
My favorite part on, my first playthrough when you're picking up this game, when Samuel Hayden, which is the robotic leader of the UAC, starts trying to, we can work together if we do this.
Blam,
Shepherd.
Doomslayer grabs the screen and throws that shit.
Yes.
And I was like, did that just happen? Did a video game just acknowledge we don't need a tutorial or bullshit? Yeah. You're here for this reason. We're going to make a game about killing demons as hard as possible. Doom 3 was a survival horror where you're afraid of demons. This was a game where the demons are afraid of you.
Yes.
Oh, Doom 2016 is so good.
That opening was actually the last thing that they created for the game. It took them the whole development of the game to kind of get the tone right and then figure out what is this game? And they're like, okay.
Can I blow your minds, guys?
You can try.
Come on.
I'm going to.
Do it.
Samuel Hayden. Sam Hayden? Satan.
Yeah, I got that right away.
You got that right away?
Oh, yeah.
What about Olivia Pierce? It's Orpheus.
What?
The Dream Master?
Yeah. The Samuel Hayden thing. I'm like, Satan.
And then at the end, he tricks you. Spoiler alert.
He does?
But Olivia Pierce is very obviously the bad guy from the beginning, as well as Samuel Hayden.
Yeah, but I mean, Olivia Pierce is Orpheus in the underworld. I thought that was cool.
There's a lot of people listening right now who are like,
my mind,
I have no idea.
My mind is blown.
But I didn't know the Olivia Pierce thing. So,
well,
there you go.
Got one thing
you did.
Another thing that happens in the opening, the concept of gore nests. Other games, you go into a situation and then things just start happening. With Doom, you have to go up to what essentially looks like a blood fountain, and you have to just, you're about to start shit. You're calling all the demons in the room, and you have to wait for it, and you have to actually, boom, and then the music starts kicking in. Again, Hugo's describing it as the favorite thing for the Doomslayer to do is kill demons. Mm-hmm. He loves every gore nest he runs into.
It's pure aggression.
At the end of Doom 2, one of the concepts is the Doom guy seals himself in hell. Yeah. Because he's like, he's like, I'm just going to protect the world. I'm just killing demons forever. That's the most heavy metal thing. Like, this is what I'm doing from now on. After the gore nest, you go into an elevator then, and Samuel Hayden once again tries to talk to you. He says,
you're forced to listen to it.
He says, I know that you think what we did was wrong, but what we did was for the best of all mankind. And the Doom guy looks down at a dead human, and he's just like flexing his fist as hard as he can. Yeah. And then he punches the console that Samuel Hayden is talking about. And that's when the boom, 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 and the Doom logo comes up.
Yes.
And then right when that riff ends, it's the shotgun cock, and you step out into Mars. It is a perfect opening.
So good.
I think we need to talk about Mick Gordon. Mick Gordon, Australian composer, originally was told to kind of stay away from very obvious heavy metal stuff.
Why?
I don't know what they were thinking. He was trying to have a different approach to Doom.
Trying to branch out. Oh. They
realized very quickly, all right, we're going to go very back into this. But that opening theme, it's actually a chainsaw played through with synthesizer.
Ooh, I like that.
There are numerous songs that have satanic imagery if you were to play them visually, where it's just pentagrams, or you can see John Romero's head on a pike.
That's cool.
It's so heavy metal.
That's crazy, yeah.
The movement of Doom 2016 is one of the things that I think is so strong about it. It's so fast. Mm-hmm. The double jump and the clamber where you can climb up on top of things.
Important.
It's very integral to how the maps play.
Yeah.
It's good.
There are some arenas in hell in Doom 2016 that are so fantastic, just in terms of level design.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because you're just basically in this giant gladiator
combat arena. Yeah. They set you up a lot.
And that's always beautiful. And you can always tell when it's coming, which is I would love if video games got past that, but you see a big open area and short hallway before it. Guess what? So you're getting into a battle.
Yeah. And I don't know how deep into Doom 2016 we want to go, but I think
we can go into it all the way.
I think we need to talk about just how satisfying that combat loop is, because that is the crux of the game. If that was not there, this game would just be to me, just a mediocre at best.
They call it the fun zone.
The fun zone, yes.
Yeah.
I think it also has to do with the reward system that they have set up as well.
Yes. Every combat encounter you get into, just that, like I said, that loop is they incorporate just enough strategy, just enough resource management. You're constantly on the edge of death.
Yeah.
Where you're killing an enemy, but you constantly have to think about who's next. What do I do? Do I go to the Caco demon, or do I go for this asshole demon over here and just chainsaw him, get ammo? Do I need health?
They call it push forward.
It makes you pay attention. I mean, it keeps you engaged.
Push forward gameplay. So you are low on health. You have to glory kill, which is going to give you more health.
And the glory, yes.
And if you are ever sitting there hiding from an enemy, they say that's an easy way to get killed. You're going to be losing.
Yeah.
The point is,
that's how I started playing the game. And
move forward aggressively.
Yeah. And it took me a bit to get into that.
Because it takes you a long time.
But once you do, you're like,
you have to adapt every other first person shooter that I've played almost up to that point is not that style of shooting.
Right.
No.
Yep. It is. It's cover based. Yep. It's doing this on this part of the map.
Out from corners.
Mm-hmm. This is go faster, go harder, and move around the map, flank your enemies, do this or that. I'm so excited about Doom Eternal.
Just keep moving.
The new enemies and the way that they're playing with the map is, it's so good.
I hope the AI gets a lot better because I think
Yeah.
the AI was one of the weak points of 2016's Doom.
Right.
I just want to see some like weird patterns from characters because they were all very predictable. You would see the character kind of do this wobble and then it would jump to the side and then it would be like, well, of course.
And every character it was nice that every enemy had kind of like a weak spot or a strategy to kill it. If you listen to our Dogcast from a couple months ago when we talked about Doom, I kind of gave my thoughts on this. And I think they're going to fix this for the Doom Eternal, hopefully. But there came a point in that game where either I thought it was maybe 25% too long or it played all its cards too soon, where the first half or the first 2/3 of that game, they keep doling out new weapons, new enemies at a pretty consistent pace.
Yeah, it does slow down
So
quite a bit.
So it keeps you engaged in that aspect.
Okay. You're going to feel weird then about Doom Eternal from what I've heard.
Yes.
Because I've heard in the first hour or two, they essentially give you everything.
I think it's different if you provide different ways to use these.
No,
tools.
but
I just
but
listened
they
to it.
give you all of your tools very early on.
No,
fine.
In Doom Eternal, but that's like, all right, we're going to start making shit harder and harder.
Yeah.
People have been complaining the difficulty spikes are just,
Interesting.
they're kind of crazy. But
Yeah.
it's about having the tool set and you have to adapt and get good at the gameplay.
Right.
Rather than, they said Doom 2016, if you wanted to just play the entire game with a shotgun, you could figure out a way to do that. They said,
Especially the combat.
they said, not possible for this. You were going to have to be adapting on the fly, changing weapons because this guy has this weakness. I see what you're saying, though.
Will
About,
be the Dark Souls of.
I just actually.
they talk about Bloodborne a lot as one of the
I
influences.
listened
for Eternal.
That makes.
I listened to an interview with Hugo today that he did with Giant Bomb, and another one of my complaints is the whole. Once I got to hell in that game, I was like, fuck yeah, I got to hell. This is great. I just want to fucking stay in hell. And then I get back to Mars. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that fucking sucks.
Okay, that's cool. And then I get to go to hell again. I want to fucking stay in hell. And then, I go back to Mars. I guess he said like the first third of that game, you will go to more places than you've ever thought of.
I'm so intrigued.
I don't know.
Okay,
I'm so intrigued.
But
before Eternal, let's still finish 2016.
Yes. Can I say one thing?
Of course.
I wish there was a fucking camera on my face the minute that I got the super shotgun in that fucking game. Because even though I don't have like a super reverence for Doom,
This game makes you feel.
once I got the super shotgun, guys, I'm like, oh this is fucking Doom. I was so happy. I'm like, oh my God.
I love that every time you grab a new weapon, the camera goes into deep focus. Everything behind the gun, you just look at the gun and get super sexy.
And kind of
you just like study it, and then you go back into the gameplay.
But dude, something about that super shotgun and just seeing that in front of you.
Every person I've ever talked to about
I'm like,
this game,
oh my God.
even people who I've known who are like very pacifistic or like they don't care about the violence of video games, they said, I feel like a man.
Yes, absolutely.
I feel like a man for the first time.
You know.
And I was just like, Allie watched me play this for the first time. I was probably just going like, I was like probably like spitting in multiple directions, just going like, it feels good.
It's crazy. Like I was conscious with the smile on my face. I'm like, I look like a fucking idiot right now, but I don't care. I'm like, this is
all the platforming
amazing.
sections can suck my dick, but I'll tell you what, every other part of that game, so good.
And here's another entry into the interesting sound design of Doom.
Yes.
The Mancubus Glory Kill audio is obtained by slathering a steak with honey, stuffing it into a vuvuzela, and then blowing it into a vat of cold soup.
What?
That is how that sound design of the Mancubus Glory
Why
Kill.
waste a good vuvuzela?
Yeah.
All right, they have some steak.
I love how
that shit in honey.
I love how you have to, I love how they chose honey. Like, yes, let's slather this in honey.
You're going to insert a sound effect here.
Is that that's a real thing?
That is real. We already addressed the multiplayer was kind of garbage. You could play as demons, but it was an afterthought. Snap map was cool.
Fine.
There was some cool things where blah, blah, people could design levels. Something I did appreciate about after replaying Doom 1 and 2 and then putting in Doom 2016, once you find the secret old school Doom levels in the story. You unlock full Doom levels like Doom 1 and 2. You can choose from the main menu. You go to Doom 1 and 2 levels, but it's got modern versions of the same enemies, and you're exploring the old school maps with the newer enemies.
No.
If you haven't seen this, go do it, dude. Especially if you just played Doom 2.
Well, have you ever played Wolfenstein: The New Order?
No, I haven't, but I know that they have some Doom stuff.
I love those.
So
the dream sequences.
When you sleep on a shitty mattress in the attic,
Yeah.
you can actually dream Wolfenstein 3D.
I love those games. Oh, I love those.
And it's still fucking good. There's a twist on it though. They give you different weapons in the game. It's not clearly just Wolfenstein 3D.
Yep.
I think that's brilliant. I think that's a good way to bring people in. I think that's a good way to kind of pay homage.
In December 26, 2016, Doom Pinball came out, blah, blah. Doom.
What, the best Doom game?
Don't blah blah pinball. How was it?
It's good. It's fucking good.
You played it?
I played it. It's Bethesda released a pinball pack for Pinball FX 3.
Oh, I thought it was Beyond.
Okay.
Zen
There's
pinball.
a really good Skyrim pinball as well. And a follow-up pinball.
Doom
was
guy
really good.
doing like a Samus Aran.
No, it wasn't Sonic Spinball Doom style.
Okay.
It was fine.
That'd be awesome.
There was Doom the board game. Also, Doom 3 had one.
I hear it's pretty good.
Have either of you seen Doom Annihilation?
No.
Doom Annihilation is better than Doom with The Rock.
Great, cool.
That's the only good thing I can say about it. It is terrible.
Does it star Mila Jovovich?
Not even that good. Essentially, though, the story is a
She's nice
ripoff.
to look at it.
Oh, I like her.
Essentially, the story is a ripoff.
She plays
of
with Tool.
the first Resident Evil film. It's essentially a ripoff of that, but instead of going
Really?
under the mansion 3 stories, they have to go down into Mars 3 stories to restart the base in order not to lose this technology. Dr. Malcolm Betruger is the main bad guy.
What about Dr. Pinky?
There is no Dr. Pinky. The opening is good, but then it goes into Nameless Space Marines, which is the Australian, the hot lady, the Asian dude.
It's pretty typical, yeah.
And there is the hot lady. She has this great character arc.
Who's in this movie? I'm
Nope.
sorry if I missed it.
Nobody.
Nobody?
Animated.
The
Not
doctor.
even Stellan Skarsgård?
No, but Doctor
Now, hold on here.
Dr. Betruger is a good actor. He's carrying that thing on his fucking
Christoph
back.
Waltz?
No, dude. This is Doom. We are now playing. But
Could I have a nice glass of milk?
But the hot lady character has this great character arc, which is the only thing she almost says at all, was who stole my lucky panties while I was sleeping? They suspect the pilot, who has a flask that he just drinks out of all the time and makes one-liners.
IMDb this fucking
There's
shit.
Amy Manson, and she plays Joan Dark.
Not Joanna Dark, but Joan Dark.
Dark.
I thought that was a really odd
And then
character
there's
name.
Nina Bergman, and she's got like this really great like pink haircut. She's Carly. Then
Hey.
there's Gemma Moore, and she's Lee.
It's bad. I do appreciate, though, that they go to hell at the end of the film. There is demons. She talks to a baron of hell. It's not great.
Yeah.
It's better than The Rock and Carl Urban. That was Doom Annihilation. Doom Eternal. Allegedly, it's a 22 hours-ish experience.
Such a good amount.
I
It releases-
heard that and I'm like, I hope they can
It's
make
gonna
it
take
last.
me 30.
It releases on Windows, Xbox One, PS4, and Stadia about a week from now on March 20th, 2020.
Ooh la la.
Set 8 months after Doom
Space Channel
2016. There's a lot of little story things that have been leaked, but something that you have mentioned that I am very excited about.
Heaven.
You go to heaven.
Blam blam, and you get to
And
kill angels.
Do you know what the Doom Slayer is going to do? Not give a
kill
fuck who
angels.
you are, but if you get in his way, he'll kill you.
Yes.
And I have a feeling there's going to be some 2 heaven factions, one that is wanting to interfere, and
This
the other
sounds
one
like
that's just
Bayonetta, guys. Just to be honest with you.
the Doom Slayer is going to new vistas, including just like a lot of almost like Earth.
Well, he's going to Earth again.
He's going to Earth, yeah.
He's going to Earth, but I love the open environments where you were climbing on these like cliff sides. It almost looks God of War in some senses.
I think they took a lot of inspiration from 2018's God of War.
I think that they're hiding a lot of what you're doing with heaven, because heavy metal is killing Satan. Heavy metal is also killing God. Heavy metal, they can explore a lot of things. Actually, you know what they've said? Doom 2016 is, hard rock, and Doom Eternal is speed metal.
Prog rock.
It's speed
Yes.
metal. They're like, it's going to be intense.
I mean, basically,
It should be like Air Supply.
Yeah.
Just like Dentist.
Doom RPG is like Phil Collins.
Well, I mean, the first level of Doom, you're basically listening to a ripoff of Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
Right? it makes a ton of sense because Metallica was known for being speed metal before they became whatever the fuck they consider themselves now. But I mean, like, consider like Ride the Lightning, stuff like that.
Oh,
like,
I will.
All of
what a great album.
I'm just so excited for this game. I really am.
So,
I think I am too.
the Doomslayer, that coffin was found in hell when they went through to Mars. They pulled it out, Olivia Pierce and Sam Hayden.
Yep.
So we're going to figure out.
But they don't reference any of the other stuff.
I mean, I
I
imagine.
would have imagined because Doom 1 is all on Mars, but then Doom 2, it takes place on Earth. So if there was already...
It's going to be a multiverse thing. Who knows? But they said it's getting addressed.
They're the same person.
What I'm most excited...
It's a Roxas
That's what
Kingdom Hearts thing.
Oh my God, I can't wait for fucking Josh to play that.
Oh my God.
Yes.
But
they're cream my jeans. God,
it seems like they're going to have more of that lore story, which it'll still be in the background, but there's a new character, which I'm just interested gameplay wise, called the Marauder, which is essentially the chess piece. You know, it's a queen. Oh. This person owns the map. Whenever you're on it, he fucks you up in such a way that you start you don't pay attention to other things around you. Yeah. And imps are going to start fucking you up. This guy is so dominating, and he's wearing some of the similar armor of a Night Sentinel. Some people are saying, you know, it might be the original Doom guy or something.
Are you a god?
It's like if you had to fight Master Chief in Halo or something. It's that guy who is designed to fuck you up.
So he's like Mr. X from the Resident Evil 2.
With guns and projectiles.
I was thinking about Mega Man X for a second. But no, yeah, you're right.
In Resident Evil 2, the first one.
The remake? Yes.
Yes. He doesn't appear until your second playthrough. Because he's basically Tyrant with a fucking, like, fedora.
Something else that they're doing that is super exciting is the new dynamic model damage system called Destructible Demons.
Oh, no.
You'll be able to see you'll blow bits of flesh away from enemies. They're going to get weaker, and you're going to know like where to start targeting them more.
That's cool.
I love that.
And they all are going to start breaking down in different ways.
Are they still going to glow when you can kill them?
Yeah, there'll still be the glory kill system.
Weak points.
Yeah, and they're just expanding the chessboard.
When this game comes out, if you see some middling reviews, pay attention to what they're actually saying.
Do you remember that Cuphead video where someone couldn't do the tutorial where they couldn't jump and dash? Someone got a prequel, like not a prequel, a preview version. They said, this game is too tough. The guy couldn't beat the tutorial, really.
The one where you go into the book?
That was me, guys.
You even had cups about it. Until you...
He put out his thoughts after playing a preview game. Yeah. He said, Doom Eternal is too tough. If you watch his video, it's him not being able to jump and falling in lava the whole time. This guy should not be reviewing games.
That is one of the few points where I'll say, like, speak for the layman. I will say that's very important for a reviewer, but for fuck's sake, play a goddamn video game.
I think from that interview that I listened to today, their review video was just universally mocked because whoever was playing the game obviously was horrible at it. Hugo said, like, you know, it was funny, but that's also a fault of us. So, but I hear 22 hours, and I'm like, and if you're saying like, okay, they give you all your tools right away, then they better make it at least interesting, take you to new places, keep you engaged.
They're ramping up the fun zone and making you get better. The former game lets you kind of get away with doing other shit. This one punishes you. Yeah, much. I hate to say like a Dark Souls style game, but they brought it up. They bring up Bloodborne a lot in the video I watched where we're trying to make you play a certain... We want you to play like this.
I would love to watch you play Bloodborne.
I'm going to. I've been getting excited.
He wants to.
But, you know...
He likes to watch.
Yeah, tomorrow, I don't know. I might play 7 hours of MLB The Show. We'll see.
Once I heard that I think they have a dash mechanic, I was like, fuck yeah, because the whole time I'm playing 2016, I'm like, where's my fucking straight, like, quick dash out of the way button? You know? Like, just adding that to the mix would be great. He does, but it's like you play Titanfall 2 or something and you can just like
everything that I've heard Hugo and Chris Stratton say makes me just trust them more and more. If those two were the reasons that Doom 2016 came out and they said we understand what we didn't like about that game and we're going to push this one in this direction, I have zero doubts.
Yeah.
And I've only gotten more and more excited getting ready for this episode because I know what's coming.
he said the same thing. Like some people had a problem with the game being a little repetitive towards the end of it. And, we're addressing that.
Fair. It is.
It is. As much as I like that game, there was a time where I reached, I'm like, okay, I can be done with this.
All right,
now.
boys. I do have a question for you, though.
Sure.
Your favorite weapon from Doom's 2016?
I don't know. I started getting a strategy with the plasma rifle using the stun upgrade, and then switching over to the chain gun or the super shotgun once they were stunned. But I think I would have to say my favorite weapon was probably, I think the one I used the most was probably the plasma rifle. But I love the fucking super shotgun.
The plasma rifle is so good. I was combat shotgun. I got both of the upgrades.
I mean, that's probably the weapon I ended up using the most because that's the first one you really get.
It encourages you to get so close.
Yes, you can wreck some fools.
Yeah, mine's probably going to be the combat shotgun too. Close range combat. It's the most fun when you're running around the map and you.
I mean, if
you run up and you just run
if you're
away.
going to tear a jaw off of a demon, you might as well be close enough to them to do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I also thought some of the weapon upgrades in that game weren't the most appealing.
When you're exploring the map and you find a little action figure plushie of an old Doom guy, and he moves the hand and fist bumps it.
I love that.
That's my. If you want to give me to collect little collectibles, you just let me fist bump little action figures.
Basically a Funko.
Yep.
So,
yeah, exactly.
Congratulations.
Love it.
That
so
was
much.
pretty cool.
Very cool.
I did like that.
And it's a love letter, Doom 2016, to the original one as well. They know that they're making a game replicating what made that game so great.
Yeah, you took the ingredients.
Yeah.
And, you made your
You're
own.
a better chef now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say I'd rather play Doom
You have a more
2016 than
Look, guys.
They taste
Doom
the same.
1.
I'm so excited for Doom Eternal. I'm going to get all the vinyl records. I'm going to play the game.
Day one.
Day one. As much as I don't ever want to be a day one person for most games,
Yeah.
this podcast has made me want to be more and more.
I'm going to
a day one
download
person.
it for my Switch. I'm going to be the Switch guy.
Really? Like,
I'm going to be
What?
the Switch guy.
man.
Doom,
Don't you have like a 1080?
Doom on the Switch runs so well.
That's great.
And
For Switch. It'll be like 30 FPS.
I want to play it on my little screen on my bed.
Who are you?
Dude,
I've always been me.
he prefers Joy-Cons. Give him
I
a break.
love the Joy-Cons, baby.
We love Doom.
We do.
We love Doom.
Everyone loves Doom.
Yeah. I've come around. I've always appreciated Doom.
You never got fired from a job because of Doom, have you?
Not because of Doom.
No.
No.
Follow us on Patreon.
However-
follow us on Patreon.
Tom needs
This is
to get out of
this would be a great.
Tom is
yeah.
currently in jail.
How about statute of limitations? Was that
It's
25
7 years.
Follow us on Patreon.
Anyways,
Follow us on Patreon.
do it.
You don't even need the cattle mutilation tier.
No.
I'm going to create that tier, by the way.
Oh, no.
The cattle mutilation tier will be a secret podcast that you can only get. There will be no editing.
Yeah.
It'll be me talking about cattle mutilation.
All right. So Doom, everybody.
Yeah, pick up Doom Eternal. We're going to be reviewing it.
Yeah.
We'll at least give our thoughts on Facebook.
Yeah.
Soon.
And I just to give a little bit of a shameless cross promotion with the Dogcast. Episode 27, we did a bit of a Doom cast on that one as well. And we sat down with Sonic Clang, who remade the entire Doom soundtrack using guitars for like one of the first times ever. And he got a shout out from id Software. I think his soundtrack's been downloaded 1 million times or something like that.
That's wonderful.
That E1M1, his remix of that is good. So if you want a little companion piece, definitely not as in depth here, but Sonic Clang's like the ultimate Doom fan.
Well, Tom, thank you so much for joining us at the Raw Dogs today. Essentially, you
thank
are
you
the
guys.
third unofficial host.
You're always welcome.
I love you guys so much. It's great to be here.
When you
this is fun.
mentioned that you were like 35 when the original Doom came out, I was wanting you on the podcast so bad.
It was awesome.
You have, like, the
Yeah.
perspective.
I could have ran for president that year.
Tom, where can people find you?
You can find me at on the Twitter at Tom_Wagner. Otherwise, I am part of this gang of
Ragtag Demon Slayers.
Of demons, yes, at Hair of the Dogcast.
Cheers.
So check out at Hot Dogcast on Twitter.
Hair the
For all of
Dogcast
us.
on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say, please write a review.
Yes.
Like and subscribe if you want. But
subscribe for sure.
I'll do all those things, but I would love a review.
All
If
your
you-
podcast services.
If
On
you,
the next Hair of the Dogcast, I will read your review.
we'll read your review. We're just so excited for everyone that's listening to this. If you're this far, then Clearly, we're not doing everything wrong. We're not going to say we're doing something right. We're not doing everything wrong anyways.
Come on.
But write a review, like and subscribe. We would love to have feedback from you as well.
Couple weeks, visit us at Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
That one.
Dylan.
Patreon for me right now, guys, it's the most important. I got to tell you.
Here we go. Here we go.
But I will shout your name to the heavens if you just give us $1 a month. And you want to know what that means? You want to know what that means? I will interrupt Tom. I will interrupt Brad. I will interrupt.
How dare you, sir?
That could be a Patreon tier. Interrupting other dogcasters for a certain amount of money with any topic you want.
I will, and I will say something. I will say, listen, if you donate a certain amount of money, I will say whatever you want. I don't even care. I'll say whatever you want.
That I would probably. But yeah, I would love to hear that and then edit it out.
It's not something that's like, listen, I mean, like there are obvious things, but
I'm just kidding.
In the realm of like Dylan.
So basically what you're saying is, hey, if you can throw us $1 or $2 and you like what you're hearing, go ahead and subscribe to us on Patreon.
And if you guys keep joining and you guys if you're loyal and you subscribe to us, we're going to pay attention.
Be loyal to us, okay?
We're going to pay attention.
If you listen to another podcast,
I like loyalty.
Podcast, I'm going to fucking.
You got a loyal ass.
Yeah.
I want everyone listening to know that I am holding.
Are you kidding me? I had something to say, but whatever. It's fine.
You were just talking for the last 10 minutes.
Do you need more time?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Say it, Dylan.
In your own time. Go ahead.
Off.
Dylan.
No.
I'm taking higher blood pressure medication, and it makes me fucking loopy for some reason.
And here's another moment with Dylan.
I hate it. Fuck you.
Well, what were you saying, Dylan?
Oh, nothing. It doesn't matter anymore.
You know what you
Join
need to do if you have high blood pressure?
I will make.
Play some fucking Doom. Where can they get a hold of you?
Nowhere. Dylan doesn't have anything.
A sigil on the ground that you create through the blood.
You say his name 3 times in the mirror.
Place a PBR in the middle of like 5 cheeses in a pentagram. You'll get Dylan.
Jesus. I mean, like maybe.
He'll just come and eat the cheese.
I see, like, this is really good 3-year cheddar.
Like, yeah. All right. See you later.
Okay. I want everyone to know that I am holding Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, the Blu-ray, as well as Final Fantasy VII On the Way to a Smile, which is written by the same great writer from the Subspace Emissary from Smash Brothers. We're getting ready to do the Final Fantasy VII episode, The Lore of FF7, which comes out in 2 weeks from now. Get excited, everybody. This is coming.
So ready.
You guys going to have Josh on that one?
Fuck. I don't think we have.
You're welcome on it.
There's not enough beer to get Josh there.
Know?
This has been Raw Dogs. We're on Hair of the Dogcast, part of the Greenlit Podcast Network. Check them out on Greenlit.
My favorite podcast network.
Greenlit
That's a pretty good
Podcast.
one.
GreenLitPodcast.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. Go get Doom Eternal.
Are we playing some heavy metal music right now?
Nope.
As in this
we're
outro?
playing that smooth jazz that exits every episode, but we're going to...
Hi,
See, they don't even look like they want to kill each other.
I'm ready for my podcast voice, everybody.
Kiss.
It's me, Tom.
Gosh.
All right. I love the cyber demons.
Okay, so that's the regular Tom. Now let's get the Al Pacino level.
Why?
Okay.
Why do you want to hear? God damn it.
You got a demon ass.
Demon ass. Charlie, I'm gonna blow my fucking brains out. Hooah.
Wow.
Hooah.